Man, I remember when you used to go out in a truck feeding people in downtown San Bernardino.
I had about 120 scriptures written down in my Bible on the poor, because we were in a poor city. And the Lord began to just put in me, Isaiah 58 was our foundation chapter on the fast that God had chosen and the love of God.
First message ever preached,
yep,
Isaiah 58.
It was, and that's how it started. It started with beans and rice. I knew there was hungry people. Jim wanted to fill up buses, and I'm thinking, oh great, how are we gonna get people in buses? And he said to me, what are you gonna do? And I said, can I go to 5th Street and G Street? We just started bringing groceries to hungry people. We'd knock on the door and we'd say, it's the end of the month. Are you hungry? We've got some extra food here, and would you like some prayer? And you know what? I was so shocked because I'd never done this before. And the people opened the doors to me, and they were so kind, and they were so hungry to have somebody help them. It started with just beans and rice, and then it started to grow, and more people came along, and we made mistakes, and we figured this out, and then Mignon came on.
I had another little girl in the Rock in the Streets. She was about 2.5 years old, and at the time I didn't know it, but another person that was out, a volunteer, had snapped a picture of this little girl and I talking, and she was about 2.5, 3 years old, and she talked like an adult because she was basically raising herself. And I asked her where her mom and dad were, and she goes, oh, they're asleep. And here's this little girl out here all by herself, and I got to share Jesus with her that day, and I asked God to protect her. And I saw her several times at other locations because they moved around a lot. And then I lost contact with her, but her name was Aurora, and I will forever remember Aurora as well. And this is just one of many, many, many examples of love in the streets of San Bernardino.
There's a lot of people that are just not as blessed as we are, or maybe you are, but you know, thank God for a church that'll care for them. And I found out that no matter if they come to church or don't come to church, that wasn't the issue. I thought if I fed them and loved them, they would come to church. It wasn't true. But I found out something else. I found out that God came to church here because we took care of the poor. It was pleasing to the Lord. So not always do we get results from things that we think, but we get results in different ways.
So don't despise small beginnings, because we went from a closet to a large warehouse. Currently today, we have a 6,500 square foot warehouse where we have refrigerator units and semi-trucks, and we bring in massive tons and tons of food each year. And last year we fed over 500,000 people from this warehouse.
And when I found out that God had a heart for the poor, I could hardly wait to give them as much as we could, and with great dignity and honor.
When you delight yourself in the Lord and you really fall in love with Him, He suddenly begins to put His desires in your heart.
We say that the Inland Empire shall be saved.